Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. We're so glad you're watching with us today. We have something very special for you to watch before we get started today. Check this out.
I have no room to breathe, no chance of being free, the condemnation palpable. Why is my sin so hard to forgive? Does my visual reminder of the sin I have committed make you fearful of the ones you have hidden? My heart screams for truth while my feet scramble for the door. My eyes on the floor. Skin touches metal and I freeze. I came here for peace, not to flee. Why should I have to run when I've been told of this magnificent son? He is the giver of all life, including the one I have inside. Tiny nails, tender skin, clear eyes. This child was designed, a bearer of truth to bring living proof that God confounds the wise. The heart of the Father reflected in his son or daughter, and his or her purpose begins with my bravery, facing my fears to embrace a bigger destiny. Generation to generation, a change starts with me.
Wow, that is incredibly powerful. Amy Ford is here with us today, everyone, with Embrace Grace. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back on the show again. And for those that haven't heard about Embrace Grace, talk to me about your heart for Embrace Grace. How did God birth this incredible ministry in your life?
Well, I had an unplanned pregnancy when I was 19, and I almost aborted, and thank goodness I didn't. And I just remember that season of feeling totally alone and feeling like I wasn't welcome in the church, and just a lot of guilt and shame. And so it really robbed me of the joy of that pregnancy. And so many girls now that I talk to, they have the same experience where it could be that the church maybe is responding in a way they shouldn't, or maybe it's just their own guilt and shame where they feel like they are not good enough to step foot into a church, which we know that that's not, those are lies. But we were at a Pink Impact, a women's conference, and God downloaded this idea to just come alongside these girls, and we don't want any single mom to walk alone. And we want the church to be that first place that a girl runs to instead of the last because of shame and guilt. And so we launched a pro-love movement is what we call. And so we want every church to be a safe place for these young girls that have unplanned pregnancies.
I love how you call it a pro-love movement, and that you want them to have that safe place to go to. Just watching that video, the intensity, it brought me to tears, and I kind of had to get myself back together before we came back from that, just because of the power of seeing that baby, inside of that mom, that gift, that miracle. But sometimes those girls don't feel that way at first.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, they just feel like it was a mistake. And the baby is not a sin. The baby is a miracle. And so we want to celebrate them for choosing life, number one, and number two, celebrate the baby. We throw baby showers for all our girls that go through Embrace Grace, and it's just awesome to watch that. It's like grace in action, to see that God loves them so very much, and he created that baby.
Oh, I love that. I think it's beautiful that you all throw showers for these girls and that you provide a sense of hope for them. I'm sure that being able to provide that sense of hope and knowing that, this isn't over for you is so important. But I think you have a great video that really explains the sensation and the feeling these girls feel when they first find out. So I think we should watch that.
Yes.
Let's take a look at this video. The sound of that baby cry just kind of makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Right.
Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Can't keep my composure right now.
And you know, it's such a great imagery. Whenever our videographer was doing that video, he was like, how do I convey that hopeless feeling? Like, he read through the book had all these testimonials of girls that had an unplanned pregnancy, and it was just this hopelessness. And a lot of girls were saying, it felt like I'm drowning and I feel like I can't catch my breath. And so it was amazing to see that picture of someone pulling up her and letting her breathe again, and letting her see that all the dreams for her life can still happen. Just because she has a baby doesn't mean that she has to throw them out the window. Like, there are consequences to sin. You know, it's hard to be a single mom, but there's so much joy in life there, and we want to make sure that they don't feel alone or feel hopeless and feel like their life is over.
Yeah, I love that. I love that moment where, you know, she comes up out of it, because it's like I'm holding my breath with her under the water, you know, and then you feel that hope and you see her in the group. Talk to me about the group. How does that really help the girls and help the girls get through that moment of hopelessness? Yeah,
well, I know a lot of them come and they just feel so overwhelmed. They feel like there's maybe situation or scenario that they're in is worse than anyone else's in the whole world, and no one understands. That's like what they think. Yeah. So then, and they even think, a lot of times, because we throw a baby shower, sometimes they even come for the free stuff. But when they walk in, it's like Jesus just totally captures their heart. They feel like they are not alone, because now they're meeting other girls that are going through the same thing that they are. They hear the leader stories, and we may not have an unplanned pregnancy story, but we all have an embrace grace story, you know, of what God's done in our life. And so it's cool to even just see the light bulbs that go off of just like, oh my gosh, like, I was scared to say what I was going through, but that leader just said what she went through, and hers is way worse than mine. And if she can share her story, then I can share my story too. And if God can do that for her, then God can do that for me too.
Absolutely.
And so it's like you just see these walls that brick by brick slowly break down around their hearts, and they just change the feel. They just knowing that there's a support system and that the body of Christ wants to come alongside them is huge.
I love that, and we want to hear some stories of some of the girls, so we're going to watch some of those right now. Okay.
When I first found out I was pregnant, I felt so shocked. You know, after realizing that I was pregnant, I felt worthless.
I was just afraid for the reputation of my family and what was going to happen to that, if it was going to tear my family apart or if it was going to bring us closer together.
I felt wrong that I would want to be in church where other people are married and they have kids through marriage and they're in love and they're happy, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. But it was so much better afterwards, you know, after stepping in Embrace Grace. It was amazing. Just felt so right.
I think the biggest thing it did for me was gave me myself back, but the best version of myself that I could be. I wouldn't be the person I am right now without Embrace Grace and going through everything that I went through with these girls and these leaders to stand by my side through it all.
It definitely changed my life because it helped me see like the value in myself and the value in my decision to keep Clay, and it helped me like grow closer to the Lord throughout my pregnancy, to where I'd be prepared when I had Clay to be like a godly woman and a good example for him.
One thing the leaders would tell me every Monday night and even constantly through the week is, you're going to be a great mom. And that's something that I didn't think that I would ever be.
Embrace Grace saved my life. It gave me the courage to keep my baby and that I could be a good mom. Sorry. It just changed me forever. I didn't think I could raise my son on my own, and I can. I'm really thankful for Embrace Grace.
Strengthen the relationship between your center and your local churches to ensure that every young woman with an unplanned pregnancy is embraced by a spiritual family through an Embrace Grace group.
Wow.
I know, I still tear up, and I've seen it a million times.
With every visual, with every video, with every testimony, my heart is just, it's just wrecked, and then it's put all back together again, like all within a few seconds.
It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. And you see them with their babies, and oh my gosh, it just does something to you. Tell me about your partnerships, because you talk about in the videos, you know, the local church and pregnancy centers. How do you get the message out that you're here and that you're an option?
Yeah, so, you know, Embrace Grace is in churches. Like, it's a small group within churches. And so we're in right now about over 300 churches around the nation, 43 states and 5 countries. And so we help these girls get connected to local churches to love on them. So how we get the girls, obviously word of mouth, and once that congregation hears about it, they always know people and things like that, but also through pregnancy centers. We partner with local pregnancy centers, and they'll know if there's a church in their area that has an Embrace Grace, and then once a girl has a positive pregnancy test, they send her to an Embrace Grace group. And one creative way that we're using right now to get the girls, you know, it's one thing to just hand a flyer to them, and we wish pregnancy centers could give us names, but they can't because of HIPAA laws and you know, things like that. So we just hope and pray that they call us and reach out. Yes. But we have this new creative way where it's a box. It's called Love in a Box, and inside it's an invitation to Embrace Grace. It's got a onesie, a baby onesie that says "Best Gift Ever." It's so cute. It's got my book, which is full of testimonials, whether they chose to parent or adoption. It's got a journal that talks about being fearless, and that it says "You are strong, you are brave, you are loved" on the cover, and it's so sweet, and a pen, and just all the testimonials, and it's just a sweet gift that we give to these girls. So the pregnancy centers give it to them, tell them, hey, there's an Embrace Grace, here's a gift for you, and then they get connected to the local body of Christ. And so pregnancy centers have these boxes. We just launched it, and they're getting them right now all over the nation to be able to just have something else, not just another flyer, but a gift with an invitation to go.
Amy Ford, thank you for what you're doing for these girls. Thank you for the pro-love movement that you have begun in our churches, and that you're there for these girls, providing that hope, and they can come up for air when they feel like they're drowning and reach out. I mean, for them to have this safe place to be able to go to. Gosh, what a gift. Thank you so much for what y'all are doing for our community.
All God.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you for listening to his voice. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching us here at Joy in Our Town. Hello, welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining me today is Mr. Darren Babcock. He is the Executive Director for Bonton Farms. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Bonton. What do you all do?
Bonton is an old freedmen's community. It was formed right after Emancipation Proclamation. It's been an impoverished, mostly African-American community in the South Dallas or southern sector of our city. And it's just plagued with a lot of things that are associated with poverty, a lot of brokenness. And so we work with, we say, the most marginalized people in the most neglected neighborhoods to restore lives. And we do that through creating jobs and igniting hope through things I think that we'll get into in a bit.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's amazing. I love the history behind it. It sounds really rich. Before we continue today, we really want to see a little bit about what you're talking about. So why don't y'all watch this?
Men here live an average of 11 years less than men in the Dallas County at large. We have double the rate of stroke, double the rate of cancer, double the rate of diabetes, and double the rate of heart failure, and a much more significant rate of childhood obesity. The idea from the farm came because I moved into this community, and my new friends and neighbors and family are sick and dying. And really, all those indicators point to it being a food desert. My name's Darren Babcock. I'm an urban missionary and founder of Bonton Farms in Dallas, Texas. For us, it's a 3-hour round-trip bus ride to get to the nearest grocery store and back. And so people just don't do it. So for us in Bonton, we don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. We can buy packaged goods from the beer and wine store or the liquor store, but we don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And over time, that takes a toll, and you see the health problems that we have as a result. I felt it was unacceptable to have communities in a city like Dallas where people were sick and dying just because they didn't have access to food. And so, it had been decades since people in this community have had food. It's been about 50 years. We've lost what it means, or what fresh food really even is, or means, or how to prepare it, or what benefits come from a family sitting down and having a meal together. Because when the food goes away, all of that tends to go away with it over time. I know kids that eat lunch at school on Friday and don't eat again until Monday. This is a reality. The problem was much bigger than just planting a garden. And so at Bonton Farms, what you see here today is an expression of a farm where we've provided the first piece of the puzzle, which is to create jobs and to provide fresh food. But we hope the food is only a catalyst to start providing education around the benefits of that fresh food and why it's important and how and what to do with it. The parallels between soil, seed, and plants and life are intricately linked. We'll take seeds out of a packet and plant them, and one of those seeds will turn into this plant that grows big and strong and produces all this fruit. And the same seed out of the same packet planted right next to it wilts and dies and gets infested by bugs. Well, what's the difference? And the same thing happens in life, right? We have a lot of men that grew up without the right nutrients to build a quality life, and in doing so, they start to think that my life doesn't matter as much. But they have the same potential they were created for, and it still exists for them. In many cases, they just need to be exposed to different nutrients or different opportunities in life than they've had before. And so the farm exists to provide that whole comprehensive service of teaching people about food and how to prepare it and what it does for you and the impact that it can have on your health and well-being. And so we're just getting started with that.
Thinking like you always thought. You keep on getting what you always got. You keep on doing what you always did. You keep on getting what you always got. It's about change. What? Come on, crew.
Wow, it's amazing to see the faces of the people in the video. Talk to me about when God told you, like when you knew, when you had that moment of, okay, Lord, this is your voice, and then how it's affected the people since you've obeyed.
Well, I think, first, when God started speaking to me, but I really didn't want to hear what he had to say because I knew it was going to require an awful lot of me to do. So I was a business guy living in the suburbs and kind of what you would think of as a normal life in Dallas. And I started volunteering in Bonton, just meeting with men, and God knitted my heart to them. And I remember in the beginning kind of feeling bad about always getting in my car to leave to go home. And I came there to give something, and I always felt like I left with more than I gave. And but it was only a couple of months that went by until God started to say, like, what happens the 6 3/4 days when you're not there? And that burden got to grow inside of me to the point to where I really felt like God one day said, look, there was one day that you surrendered to me, like, and you said you quit and made me the Lord of your life, and I have this for you. And so are you going to accept it, or do you really want to do your own thing? And so it came to that point where he kind of forced me to make that decision to obey. I didn't go willingly, but it's been the best thing I've ever done, is to obey that call and to move in. And the healing that's happened, having a guy that's different, that's left things behind, move in, has opened the hearts of the community to accept me, I think, because of the sacrifice made. And so it just opens the ability for me to share. Everybody wants to know, why would you do this? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Why would you, of all places, Bonton is the most notorious community in our city for violence and gangs and drugs and prostitution, all these bad things. So of all the places you could live, why did you come here? And the only answer I have is Jesus called me here.
What a beautiful testimony for them, and for you to be able to build trust with them, so that they're in and they see that you're for real about this. And you've got some more video to show us today, and I can't wait for people to see it. Let's go ahead and watch that.
I often tell people I don't make hardly any money anymore, but I feel like the richest man in Dallas. Bonton Farms is an urban farm. It's located in the inner city community of Bonton in South Dallas. We exist to restore health, create jobs, and ignite hope in communities like this that are known as food deserts, where we don't have access to fresh, affordable food. You know, the nearest grocery store is 4 miles away, and to get from Bonton 4 miles to the grocery store is a 3-hour round-trip bus ride. Because this community and communities like this are literally dying. And a lot of people may think, well, that's an over-exaggeration, but it's not. We have double the rate of heart disease, double the rate of stroke, double the rate of cancer, double the rate of diabetes, and double the rate of childhood obesity than the county we're in. And so health is just a huge foundational component of helping communities like this recover and be restored and flourish. And that's really what Bonton Farms is about.
I've been to the penitentiary twice. I had a serious drug problem from a young age, and I couldn't see any light left. I didn't see a future for me. I feel like I'm somebody now. My life has a purpose and a meaning, right? To be standing up here, out here in this farm, and I have people standing here with me. You know, my whole life is back together. You know, I have a relationship with my daughter now, and I'm the manager of the farm. You know, I worked hard and I earned to be the manager of the farm.
Patrick has been so diligent and committed to doing the work necessary to change his life. The thing that he told me that day I met him is, I just want to be a father to Jesse. And so he came out here and started working with us. And you know, this we tell the guys when they come, this isn't a home. Don't get used to this. This is a place to help you heal, to go someplace. But Patrick fell in love with it, and I couldn't get him to leave. To see how he cares for this place and the people and the kids, and he's an amazing story of what this is really all about, represented in one person. And because of his transformation, that's what encourages me to keep after it on the days that things get really hard.
Wow, to see the domino effect. You know, you're thinking, well, you're just providing fresh food. It's so much more than that. And you hear Patrick's story, I'm able to be a great father. Just like, oh, it wrecks my heart, right? What a beautiful thing you're doing in the community for these people. What would you like to see continue to happen in the lives of the people near Bonton Farms?
Well, I hope that something about food unites people, and so some things that are happening that are really a much larger story. You know, Dallas is a city that's one of the most successful and lucrative and prosperous cities in the country. We have more churches than any other city, over 1 million people, and yet we have the #1 rate of childhood poverty, and we rank 3rd in overall poverty, behind only Memphis, Tennessee, and Detroit, Michigan. So we have these issues, and we have the body of Christ here to address those issues. And what this little farm is doing is uniting people and awakening, I think, the church in a way that we would get involved and be the hands and feet of Christ, so that these problems, they'll always exist, but that they'll be addressed, and the church will be the answer. not our government, not our city, not our politicians or anything else, but that the church is the answer. And so on a big scale, I hope to see that happen. And for the people in the community, it's just to realize that they're created unique, that a God that loved them, that knows them before they were born, that they have a fingerprint that only they have, to leave an imprint that only they can, and to realize that they're special and to seek that out in their life instead of settling for, what they've been told they need to settle for in this life.
Yeah. It's great to see the pictures of the children, feeding the baby goats. And you've got all the fresh foods, the vegetables, and you talk about it being a food desert, and it is shocking being someone raised in this area to know that there's areas like that in our metropolitan city that is so, considered one of the wealthier cities in the United States. So it's a shock to know that there are families out there still. You talked about kids not eating, all weekend long until they're at school. I think it's great that you're bringing this to the light. We need to be aware of it as people, and then as Christians too. Just that responsibility of being the hands and feet, like you mentioned. What else would you like the community to know before we go today about Bonton?
The Bonton community, or the community that's watching this?
Yeah, what's on your heart?
I just think that, one, we live in a time where we are really divided. You hear it and feel it in everything. We're divided politically. We're divided through our different faiths. We're divided ethnically and socially and economically in all these different ways. And what I've seen in Bonton is that we're just so the same. And Christ came and died so that there are no more differences between us. We're all his children. And that if we would start living that out, then our world would be a much different place. And so that's kind of a big, intangible thing. But the truth of the matter is that when we come together, these problems and these divisions tend to go away, and our world becomes a much better place.
Yes, that's so powerful, and I love that we're able to see someone in our community actually walking that out. So thank you for what you're doing for Bonton Farms.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here today. And thank you all for watching us here at Joy in Our Town.